and I look forward to a really engaging and informative session. Okay, so before we get started, please let's recite our opening prayer together. Please unmute your mics and we'll do it together. Thank you, everybody. O God of all creation,
grant
this our one request.
Help us to build a nation where no man is oppressed,
and so with peace and plenty, Nigeria may be blessed. Amen.
Thank you, everyone. Amen. Okay, I'd love to invite Precious Dan Harold to please lead us on the safety rules for today. Precious Dan Harold, please, over to you.
Good morning, afternoon, and evening from wherever you're calling. It's such an honor to be here. My name is Precious Dan Harold, and I'll be guiding you through the safety rules for this meeting. Kindly rename your Zoom profile to your full name, first and surname, no nicknames. Please keep your microphone muted when not speaking. Share your questions using the chat feature, or you can use the raise hand feature to get the host's attention before speaking. Do not share personal, sensitive, or confidential information during the session. For safety reasons, please avoid driving while participating in the meeting. And if you are, ensure that you are in a safe and distraction-free environment. You can also use the safe mode feature from the Zoom as well. Please ensure that your environment is safe, not close to cooking appliances or open flame. I implore us to be safety conscious, and I know that we are going to have an eventful session. Thank you. Over to you, Enoch.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very, very much, Precious. Okay, so we are moving over to our next agenda for today, and it's an honor to welcome our APWEN President, Engineer Chinyere Nnenna Ngwebe, for her welcome address and opening remarks. Thank you, Ma.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Glad to see all of you today. And I'm very, very much happy to see the technical secretary on board. I really appreciate you, ma'am. The president, founding members, national executive committee members, chapter chairman, and chapter chairman and their executives, zonal coordinators, council members of APWEN, our distinguished guest speaker, Dr. Ibilola Amao, our esteemed moderator, Engineer Bosede Adewale and her team, fellow engineers and distinguished guests, and of course, I won't forget members who are on board, and we have the APMEN and APMAN, the he for she amongst us. We want to welcome you all. Good morning, everyone. It is my great pleasure condition of our EWB, which is Emboldened Without Boundaries Fire Chat 6.0. Today's conversation is both timely and essential. Our theme, mentoring and networking for mid-career engineers, speaking directly to a critical phase in every engineer's journey, where technical skills meet leadership potential and where the right relationships can make all the difference. The but what are you spotlighting? Mid-career is often when we face our greatest challenges and opportunities. It is a time when we must be resilient by design, leveraging mentorship to navigate complexities and building strategic networks to expand our impact. No engineer succeeds alone, and we all know that. The mentors who guide us and the networks that support us are the foundation upon which lasting leadership is built. Upwell remains committed to creating platforms like this one, where knowledge is shared, connections are forged, and careers are transformed. Our SheBuild program, which we all know, is a program that we brought about to see how we are collaborating with Rework Academy to train 1,000 young engineers within a space of 5 years, and definitely have about 100 of them own their own startups. That has started, and we have extended the registration up until, I think, 31st of this month to see how many people we can get. So the update of that flyer will be out soon. The STEM initiatives and what we have now, like the EWB series and the Insight series, all reflect our dedication in empowering women engineers without boundaries. This is because Upwell cares. To our distinguished speaker, Dr. Ibilola Amao, we are deeply honored by your presence. Your legacy in engineering and leadership is an inspiration to us all, and I'm sure we will see that in a moment. To our moderator, Engineer Bosede Adewole, thank you for steering this important conversation as always. And to every participant, I urge you to engage fully, ask boldly, and connect intentionally. Let us be emboldened, inspired, and ready to design resilience into our careers and lives. That at the end, we shall be encouraged, have our capacities enhanced, and consequently, we shall excel. Thank you, and God bless you. Have a wonderful time. Bye.
Thank you very much, our president. Thank you for the welcome remarks. Okay, so now we are going to hear from Engineer Kaltumi Giwa as she recites the speaker citations. Welcome, Ma, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much, Enobong. It's good to be here, and it's a pleasure to take this citation. I'll be taking the citation of, I would like our speaker to put on her video so we can honor her properly. I'll take the citation of Dr. Ibilola Amao, PhD, BSc, FIOD, FEI, FNSE, FNAeng, and MCIPM, Principal Consultant, STEM Specialist, and Entrepreneur. Dr. Ibilola Amao is the Principal Consultant of Lonadec Global Services. Lonadec is a multi-award winning, women-owned engineering technology, asset performance improvement, and information management solutions company. Since establishment in 1991, Lonadec has trained over 5,000 engineers and empowered over 100,000 STEM talent. Dr. Ibilola Amao is a co-founder of the Women in Energy Network, a council member of We Connect International, Nigeria, and as an honorary fellow is an advisory board member of the Queen Mary University of London Centre for Organ-on-a-Chip Technology. Ibilola sits on the board of the Petroleum Club, Petroleum Technology Association of Nigeria, and the Offshore Technology Conference Advisory Board. Ibilola provides digital transformation, engineering technology, and asset performance improvement solutions. She is committed to technology transfer through innovative local capacity building and STEM talent deployment. She brings strategic, futuristic, and innovative expertise on boards. Ibilola is a 2021 We Connect Rise to the Challenge Engineering Sector awardee, 2020 C3E International Energy Women of Distinction Awardee, Forbes Rising Star 2019, Vital Voices VV100 Fellow, an International Women Entrepreneurial Challenge Awardee, and a 2016 Energy Institute champion. She mentors STEMpreneurs and techpreneurs. As a Vital Voices VV Grow, VV100, GAP 2017 Fellow, and We Connect International Certified Member, she is involved in Girls in STEM and Women in Entrepreneurship activities with WIMBIZ. Ibilola plays it forward for national development and socioeconomic transformation. She can be found on social media at Ibilola Amo on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Personal activities include Energy Institute UK Awards George, Royal Academy of Engineering UK Africa Prize. On Wikipedia, she's there. Search Ibilola Amao, Lonadec at 30, Women and Girls in STEM Africa Facebook group, Women in Engineering, Energy and Entrepreneurship LinkedIn group, Local Content, Sustainability, Environment, Social and Governance LinkedIn group. With such a rich citation, we are honored to have our guest speaker with us today. Please, ladies and gentlemen, with a virtual applause, welcome Dr. Ibilola Amao, PhD.
Thank you very much.
The floor is yours.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Engineer Kaltumi, and welcome to our speaker. We're so happy to have you on board with us. I'd love to welcome our moderator for today's session.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Madam President. Thank you, our speaker, executive, Upon executive, past president, chapter leaders, and everyone joining us. It's my pleasure to warmly welcome you to another edition of the Upon Embodying Without Boundaries. We all know that every engineering career has defining moments. For many engineers, the mid-career stage is one of the most transformative. It is a period marked by increasing responsibilities, leadership opportunity, technical complexity, career transition, and sometimes uncertainties. Many engineers at this stage begins asking important questions. How do I continue to grow? How do I prepare for leadership? How do I remain relevant in the rapid changing profession? Who will guide me through the next phase of my career? The answer is rarely found in technical competence alone. It is found in the people who invest in us, the relationship we intentionally build, and the network that change us to think differently, grow continuously, and lead courageously. Today's conversation reminds us that resilience is not merely the ability to withstand challenges. It is the ability to learn, adapt, collaborate, and intentionally prepare for greater impact. And I'm happy Engineer Dr. Ibilola Amao area of specialty is what we are giving to her. And I'm glad that you accepted our offer to speak to us today. And today's theme, mentoring and networking for mid-career engineers, while we focus on the topic resilience by design, leveraging mentorship and strategic networks for engineering leadership. So it's my honor to welcome Engineer Ibilola. Let's get at it without wasting too much of your time. So Engineer Ibilola Amao, FNSIMA, many engineers describe the mid-career stage as one of the most demanding phases of professional life. From your experience, what are some of the defining challenges engineers face at this stage, and how can they intentionally build resilience while continuing to grow professionally?
Okay, thank you so much to APWEN members and the planning committee, and thanks for the honor of having me speak today. Fantastic question. For mid-level engineers, I must say the most important advice I would like to give is being in the right network, having the right support system, and having prepared for that season. So as a young graduate engineer, the world is our oyster. And when you're a female engineer, you could be as free as possible, and you could take decisions that do not impact on your personal life and family life as adversely as if you're married with children. So my advice to young engineers would be join the right associations, institutions, societies, and networks very early. Even as an undergraduate or student member, you can begin to get a feel for the future after education. It's very important to identify role models you would like to model your future around, and then engage with senior female colleagues, even male colleagues if it's not going to be taken advantage of, to connect with them on a mentorship coaching level. And that's much easier if you're in the right networks. Take, for example, I must commend APWEN for what it's doing in the universities and with undergraduate students. Those are the kind of networks you want to plug into, get active, join the smaller groups. So don't just be in a big group, volunteer to be in a smaller group, find your niche, understand yourself. If you don't understand yourself, you're not going to understand your strengths, your weaknesses, and where exactly to plug in. There's always the 80-20 rule. So there's an area where you can put in 20% effort and get 80% outcome. That's really where you need to focus your energy and your limited time resource in. And then above all, I would say front load your family impactful roles and responsibilities. Things like site work and the very challenging exposure that you need to undertake for the right experience and expertise before you get married and start having children. Try and get them out of the way very early in your career. As a single female engineer, you can spend 12, 18, 24 months on site. That's not going to really be as negatively impactful as a young mom who has toddlers in the house. So try and get that out of the way. You need to find a very understanding spouse. If your spouse is not supportive and is not encouraging of your growth, then it will be a limitation. Very important you strategically define your personal development, your professional development, and your career development path. Do you want to be a leader or an executive in a multinational or a very large organization? Or do you want to run your own business? Or do you want to go into policy and government and apply your knowledge as an engineer? Those are three distinct career paths, and there are many others. There's the social impacts, there's the functional field work, design office work, project-related work. So there's so many dimensions of engineering. Are you happy as a specialist in one narrow area of engineering, or would you want to be multifunctional and multidisciplinary? So these are the kind of areas where having a good mentor and being in the right networks can give you the earlier choices that you make that impact your future. And then getting very much engaged in researching what's going on locally, nationally, regionally, and globally, and understanding global best practices and pitching for opportunities to just expose you to the process so that you meet the right people and your knowledge is broadened and exposed, applying for jobs, applying for internships, apprenticeship opportunities, cross-regional functions. I mean, whether it's cross-posting, apply, because when you even get rejected, there's a lessons learned. So don't undervalue yourself. If you see an application that looks a bit too ambitious, still apply. If you get it, fantastic. And if you don't, you know that you have this gap you have to close and you keep working towards it. So, I mean, those are a few tips of what I would suggest for a young engineer.
Thank you, Ma. So now let's nail it. I know you've gone through series of paths, career paths, and we really want to know that how, let me put it this way. There are some defining challenges that engineers face at different stages of their career. So we need to know how we can build this resilience while we continue to grow professionally. So those challenges that some of them might face as they grow is what we really need you to hammer on, and so that at least it prepares them for the future. Thank you, ma'am. I know you mentioned sometimes you apply to organization, they say no to you, you don't give up. Then you mentioned that finding an understanding spouse is one of the challenges some females also faces. So we need you to also help us with these defining challenges that we engineers like you are faced in your growing in your profession.
Okay, thank you so much. Resilience is something you build over time. It's like a muscle. So resilience is not something that just falls on your lap. It's like you want to build your muscle, you need to have a discipline, you need to have a routine, going to the gym every morning, going through specific exercises and doing certain things consistently is what brings about the resilience. So it's not a dash, it's a marathon. So resilience actually starts from knowing yourself. I always tell people, if you don't know yourself, you're not going to know what works and what doesn't work for you. And I think strength is not so much into externals, it's on the internal side. So the discipline of waking up in the morning, making your bed, having your quiet time, maybe a cup of coffee, meditating, planning your day, looking at what you need to do to achieve your goals and objectives, defining your SMART goals and all that is what really makes you resilient, because the ability to stick at something irrespective of what life throws at you is the evidence that you have that resilience. So for me, it's that discipline. So you really, really need to start from who am I and what really do I want out of life? Why was I created? And why did I choose to be an engineer? And what are those decisions that made me the particular engineer I am? So they're disciplines of engineering. So for you to even understand whether you want to focus on your discipline or whether you want to go into the multidisciplinary phase of projects and project management and affiliated discipline-related career paths is a choice thing that comes from who you are and who you really understand yourself to be. I'd hate to wake up in the morning or get involved in something that I don't enjoy. So if you're not enjoying your career in engineering, you can't be resilient. So resilient for me, I remember when we were in NETCO and we worked on the Chevron Escravos gas project. At some point, I think there was the June 12 crisis. Some of us worked day shift and night shift, and some of us probably didn't go home. We came in the morning and we didn't go home till the next morning. And it was a joy for some of us because engineering was our passion. So when you start working in multidisciplinary functions across geographies and time zones, setting your alarm to wake up at 3 a.m. for a meeting with somebody in China, or setting your alarm for 10 p.m. to join a meeting with somebody in Houston doesn't become a problem, because it's a joy and a pleasure for you to see that your engineering deliverables are of the highest quality and they come out in a timely manner and you meet your deadlines. If you're not passionate about engineering, you can't be resilient. You're not going to do the work to build the muscles of resilience. So for me, connecting your passion, your potential, your talent, and your passion to the specific dimension of engineering you want to apply yourself to is so critical. And for you to decide to have a career of 30, 40 years as an engineer, it's not a joke. You really need to be enjoying the engineering, and you really need to understand how to create value and how to add value as an engineer. And you need to make the right choices to be at the right place at the right time, so that it's a pleasure and a joy to be an engineer, irrespective of the time and season of your life.
So much. So we need to connect our passion with our profession, with resilience. And resilience is a muscle we build over time. It's not something that just jump on our laps. Thank you for sharing. Ma, looking back over your professional journey, how has mentorship influenced your growth? And what quality distinguish a transformational mentor from someone who simply offer advice?
Okay, so well, thank you so much. So I'm a beneficiary of the awesome mentorship relationship that I enjoyed through engineer Dr. Mrs. Olatokunbo Shomolu. So when I returned from the United Kingdom for one holiday, I had read about her in the newspapers. So when I returned back to Nigeria finally, I went to look out for her. I actually sought her out. And she was the person who helped me navigate my career path into the oil and gas industry. So I will forever be grateful to engineer Dr. Mrs. Olatokunbo Shomolu. And because she mentored me, I have made myself available to several other Nigerian young people and women to mentor them, because I'm a beneficiary of the mentorship of another person. And I would enjoin each and every one of us who have been beneficiaries of mentoring to also make ourselves mentors. So because she didn't know me from anywhere, never mind my father and her husband were colleagues of sorts, or knew each other in the engineering area of NSC, which we discovered much later. The fact that she was willing to just mentor somebody who just approached her from somewhere, I mean, from anywhere, really, for me is so humbling. So for me, I think mentoring is having a good mentor and somebody who guides you is so important. But mentoring is in two ways. Mentoring could be like the direct mentoring. There is also the transformational mentoring, and there's the reverse mentoring. So today we have young people who are digital natives. I mean, take for example, my young adult children mentor me because they're digital natives. And I mean, even though I have a PhD in computer design and drafting and specialize in digital transformation and all these things, at 61, it's very difficult for me to be on top of my game in the IT space, coding and all this AI stuff. I mean, my young adult children between age 25 and 31 are at home in that space. So you'll be surprised that as much as I seem to know in the oil and gas industry or in the digital transformation space, when it comes to coding, programming, AI, I'm like, oh my God, listening to my young adult children and interns at Lonadec and young engineers in Lonadec in awe. So one has to be humble enough to understand that there are times and seasons when even a mentor has to shut up their mouths and listen to their mentees about new innovative ideas, their creativity, their perspective about life and what's going on in their space, and then lean in with your own experience and track record and help guide them. So for me, being a transformational mentor is to listen more to what the challenges, issues, and pain points of these young Gen Zs are. I mean, they have so much information thrown at them through the internet, AI and what have you. And the kind of solutions they come up are so interesting that you need to really listen to understand and ask them questions more. So I tend to challenge their status quo and challenge their thinking rather than prescribe mentoring advice. So I think mentoring should be more of a conversation, more of a collaboration, more of knowledge sharing and opening ideas in a collaborative manner. And then setting goals and objectives, realistic, smart goals with the mentee, and ensuring that they deliver on the milestones you set with them to ensure that they're able to be self-motivated and self-driven to achieve their own SMART goals. So it's not, I mean, the traditional mentoring of this is how to do it doesn't work anymore because there's so much information on the internet. There's so much short courses, free courses, online courses, so much conferences, workshops, seminars, exhibitions, that there's an information overload. But there are also nature's pressures today where the younger and mid-level women have to combine the pressures of life, the pressures of their career situation, and what they really want for themselves. That's why I think personal development, professional development, and career development guidance is very important, and then help them work with them to co-create their own path of what a bright and fulfilling career looks like.
Thank you so much, Ma. So now I'm going to say that what I grab from you is that mentorship is built on trust. It is intentional. And listening to everyone, be it your mentee, is also important while we engage in continuous learning. So beyond mentorship, another critical factor in career growth is our professional network, like you mentioned earlier. So if Upwend was not there, I might not be opportune to be speaking with you. I only keep liking and commenting on your LinkedIn page and post. But because Upwend gave us this platform, and that's why we can bring you on board, which will take us to the next question of strategic networking. We know networking is often misunderstood as simply exchanging contacts and attending events. In your view, what does strategic networking really mean?
Okay, strategic networking requires planning ahead of the engagement. So you have the operational, you have the tactical, and you have the strategic. And when you look at strategy from the military perspective, it's a long-term goal. You're preparing for a long-term result. So strategic networking should involve the short-term, medium-term, and long-term goals you want to achieve. Should involve the kind of persons who would make the goal possible, which is like the networking side of things. Who do you need to speak to? Who do you need to work with? Who do you need to engage? So whether it's your peers, your subordinates, or your superiors, they're all important because you really need to have a team-oriented approach to solving problems. So networking is not limited in one direction or one dimension. It's multidimensional and multifaceted. So you need the support systems. You need to work in groups, clusters, whether it's from a business perspective, could be partnerships, strategic alliances, joint ventures, consortia. In individual spaces, it could be cross-disciplinary or interdisciplinary functions within a team. But at the end of the day, you need to have a team orientation. And networking is to build trust. Your character and your emotional intelligence is critical. Because if you are seen to be flighty, unserious, a compromised person, or somebody who people cannot actually trust their word, then people don't really want to be on the same team or in the same group with you. So you need to consistently show up, be a person of good character, a person of integrity, be known for diligence, hard work, focus, and delivering on your goals and objectives. You need to be serious-minded. And it's those kind of traits and characteristics that would endear you to the people in your network or in your communities that would want them, that will enable them or encourage them to want to work with you. So I think strategic networking is looking at your SMART goals, understanding the ecosystem that will get you there, understanding the people and the resources you need to get there, and how to, through your character, your emotional intelligence, your knowledge, your skills, your good practice, reach out to the right people that need to be in the teams that will deliver on your SMART goals. I mean, gone are the days when you could be a lone ranger and achieve so much. Today, any leader you see, anyone you see that is successful is definitely a team-oriented person, because you cannot achieve much on your own. True. So this is so important that we have that holistic perspective that a tree doesn't make a forest, and we need to collaborate with people whilst we contribute our own best self to the groups we work in.
Thank you for sharing, ma'am. How can engineers build authentic relationship that create opportunity for leaders? You just mentioned we have to have some characteristics, but to authentically build this relationship that will enhance our leadership skills, collaboration, and the long-term professional growth.
Authentic relationships can only be built if there's mutual respect and mutual value to be created. So it's a give and take. So you can't show up and say you want to extract value consistently from another person. After a while, you would wear the person out. The person will become exhausted and the person would feel drained by the relationship. So it has to be one of mutual respect and mutual value creation. So one has to research areas, the trajectory of a potential mentor's development or growth or goals and objectives, and see that, okay, with my humble self, this is probably an area where I can add value, support, volunteer to create mutual value for this person. And being available and having the conversation of how can I help, or how can I support, or is there any area where you think I could be of benefit to you or your initiative or your business or your plans or your growth, are the kind of conversations. Most times people would just say no, but the fact that you're even willing to put some skin in the game of the mentorship journey earns you the respect of the mentor, that you're not just somebody who wants to use or leverage a relationship and take, but you are also willing to contribute. I always tell people that from volunteering, when I volunteered to join the Energy Institute Council when it was being formed in Nigeria. And from being on that committee, the first time the managing director of Energy Institute visited Nigeria, she was a lady Louise Kingham. I went around with her, and I naturally take notes. So I took a lot of notes, and I put the minutes of meetings together and a report on her visit, her 4-day visit to Nigeria, and sent it to her. It's amazing how that single volunteering exercise got her interested in me as a person. And at some point, I was invited to join the Energy Institute Council in London. And then she said, you don't have to travel to London for any of the meetings. You can just read the minutes of the meetings in Nigeria and email us what your thoughts are. Then I made a conscious effort in my head that, okay, I'm going to make sure I attend all these meetings. And anytime I was going abroad for my children's half term or end of term, I would schedule to stay a week after or get there a week before to attend these meetings. And because I consistently showed up, I got exposed to the kind of international networks that could only have been in my dreams. So I was on the board with the chairman of Shell Foundation, chairman, vice president of BP and all kinds of stuff. So I never planned it. It was just the fact that I love taking notes, and I thought, okay, let me send minutes of the meeting. I wasn't being strategic in my thinking then, but looking back, it was just that act of volunteerism that got me into the rooms that people couldn't even believe. Because I mean, in over 103 years of the Energy Institute, when I joined, they never had a Black person on the council, neither had they even had a Black woman on the council. But since then, so many, we've had Blacks on the council of the Energy Institute, and Blacks even giving very reasonable opportunities. So I think using what you have in a meaningful manner, volunteering and supporting your community in whatever way you can, and having good intentions and having a life of service, and in all humility wanting to create value in a mutually rewarding manner, always comes back as some form of a harvest of your good intentions. So it's tough sometimes, and one has to kind of survival instinct of, let me just take care of myself, or myself and I. You just really need to make those sacrifices, or your generation is the beneficiary. I can honestly tell you that a good name is better than all the money in this world, and you would always be a beneficiary of a harvest of good works.
Thank you so much. One thing becomes increasingly clear throughout this conversation, and that is the opportunity often comes through relationship and your availability. If you're not adding value, you can't build a good relationship. Talk less of having that opportunity. People hardly ask what is your qualification before they want to get to know you. So what we are saying is your relationship matters even before your technical know-how. So it will take us to the next question that says how, because I realize that a lot of competent engineers remain unnoticed because they actually struggled with visibility. So for the mid engineers, how can they position themselves for leadership while remaining authentic without eye service? Let me put it that way.
Okay, so your qualifications will get you so far. Your character and your emotional intelligence and your life of service will open doors for you. Your diligence, your dedication to excellence will encourage potential sponsors to speak up for you. So nobody wants to open a door for you or sponsor you for an opportunity if you're going to disgrace them or you're going to show a character trait that is very embarrassing for the sponsor. So you can be rest assured that people observe, people watch, people speak to other people and ask questions. What's this? Who is this person? What do they do? How do they do what they do? So your reputation at the end of the day becomes more critical than your intellectual or qualification after a particular stage in life. So, I mean, there are some qualifications that you need to get to a particular point in life. But when you start looking at from middle career to leadership to executive to the boardroom, it now becomes your character, your emotional intelligence, your ability to deliver. The observation of who you are and what you bring to the table and how you bring what you bring to the table. So if you have an entitlement mentality and people suspect you are going to be disruptive, nobody's going to put you on their board, because they don't want to end up in court when they put you on their board. So your temperament, your emotional intelligence, those are the things that are so important. So I think we need to focus on the qualities and characteristics that get middle-level engineers into boardrooms and into executive level opportunities. These are so important.
Thank you, ma'am.
And this is where a good mentor or a good role model could actually guide a middle-level engineer.
Thank you, ma'am. So what role do visibility, credibility, and personal reputation play in career advancement? What role do they play?
So visibility comes from attending workshops, seminars, conferences, being active in your network, in your association, institution, society, building the right credible relationships, and obviously having a qualitative digital footprint as well. That can take you so far, but it's your character and your emotional intelligence and your ability to engage and build trust that would keep you there.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay. As an experienced professional that continues to grow, we also carry this responsibility of developing those that are behind us, which some find difficult actually. So how can engineers intentionally mentor and sponsor younger ones? Because I heard you mention our characteristics open doors for sponsors that we speak on our behalf when we are not there. So how can engineers intentionally mentor and sponsor young professionals while continue to involve in their own career? Because let me put myself as an example. Growing up, I never had the opportunity of mentor. I just find myself, I'm struggling, I'm working alone. But these days, and some people find it difficult to even mentor someone. So for us, we need to change the narrative. And so we need your advice on how we can intentionally do that. Thank you.
Okay, so I believe AppPoint is doing a lot. I mean, this, for example, is fantastic. I also believe that there's some informal activities that bring people together. But beyond that, I think where women tend to drop the ball is following up and following through. So the excitement of being together at an event is fantastic. But do you follow up with a phone call, a text message, a WhatsApp? Do you check in? Do you have coffee? Do you have lunch? Do you plan to meet up and have a discussion? So I think because we have a lot of domestic commitments, we probably miss out on what our male folks do. I'm very privileged to be on male-dominated boards and male-dominated groups. So I see what my male counterparts do. They don't joke with their networking. After work, they go for drinks. It's so easy for them to say, let's go out for lunch or dinner, or they're having conversations. They visit each other's offices. And they're not just visiting each other's offices to mess around. They've probably co-created an opportunity, and then they go to visit to solidify, sign an agreement. And for example, there are a lot of PETA member companies that are collaborating on different bids and proposals and opportunities. they're intentional about. So it's not, the conversations is not about let's just go out and have fun. Yes, the going out and having fun is part of what they do, but they've done the work before they're going out and having fun. So as they're going out to have fun, they're closing out on something. So they're very strategic in their networking. They're very goal and result oriented in what they do. Men don't mess around for the sake of messing around. So we women need to take the conversation beyond the fun side of engaging at whether they're parties. And you see men even closing deals in parties. So I mean, they're there. They've dressed up in their native with their wife, but as they're sitting down and settling down, before they even eat up, they're already going to sit next to the president and closing the deal. And then on Monday morning, the paperwork is done. Do you understand? But I mean, we're like, okay, this party is going to be the Asoebi and the dance and everything. You're surprised. Whilst you're going to a party to have a good time and support your friend and enjoy yourself, men are closing deals right under our nose in that space because they're very focused on what they want to get out of what they're doing. So I think we need to take conversations forward. We need to follow up on meetings. We need to co-create opportunities, initiatives, projects, and see it to a logical conclusion. So yes, let's have fun in that journey, but let's have SMART goals that translate into tangible results about why women are working together. And I also believe that a lot of people have a mindset that women don't work together very well. No, I mean, I've had such a fantastic experience with women. We have so many women working at Lonadec. I mean, every woman in Lonadec I'm mentoring and coaching. Myself and two other ladies, Fumi Ogboe and Patricia Simon Hart, three of us set up the Women in Energy Network. Engineer Dr. Mrs. Olatokunbo Shomolu is my mentor. So I have been blessed by women and blessed by men as well. So I don't think we should have that mindset that women don't work together very well. We can and we will, and we must have that mindset. We just need to be more focused and deliberate about how we co-create opportunities for ourselves.
Yeah, thank you so much. That really resonates with me because I realize a lot of time you're working with your husband and the next thing is seeing someone he needed to hook up with against Monday and they leave you hanging and kind of, but I think it's kind of shy. Maybe we are shy to close up. We always feel that environment is not professional. That is what I believe women always think first, unlike the men. Everywhere is professional for them. So ma'am, what role should professional organizations such as APWEN play in strengthening mentorship and leadership pipeline? We know we do a lot of mentorship. Like you said, we don't follow up and we don't follow through. So aside that, what other things do you advise we incorporate into our mentorship and leadership pipeline?
Okay, so for example, in the pattern group, opportunities are shared on the platform. I mean, so and this is something that I think is important. There's the focus group for business, and there's the focus group for socials. So from the business perspective, opportunities for partnerships, collaboration, joint ventures, consortia efforts exist. So I think separating business from socials may really help. So if you're on the business group, you're not going to be posting happy birthday and we're visiting this, we're visiting that. It's strictly maybe Shell, ExxonMobil, Total has a bid, a proposal, and how do we put our heads together and how do we collaborate to deliver and co-create a solution. So I think having, and then on the, take for example, on the Women in Energy Network, I was very much involved in the putting together the collaboration with the Institute of Directors so that women who want to become directors, certified directors, can sign up and get a discount with a to become a CIOD, Chartered Institute of Directors member. That opens doors into boards. You can also look at opportunities around courses, international grants, scholarships. I mean, Oxford University, Cambridge University is opening up an international grant scholarship. So let's look at real weighty opportunities and create that space where we challenge women to stretch themselves and get out of their comfort zone and work together as women in a more focused and strategic manner. And then we're now beginning to see tangible results, because we are getting success stories from people being members of platforms that are designed specifically to stretch the members, as opposed to the status quo of keeping each other company and supporting each other, which is a very good thing, very necessary, very important for your sanity and your mental health and your life goals. But there are some other weightier things that need to be separated from the other things.
Okay, thank you so much, Matt. Thank you so much, Matt. So let's pause a while we ask from the audience if there are questions. Okay, I think I see exactly 20 years ago, I benefited from NCDMB and Data Afrique engineering training facilitated by LONADEC in oil and gas overview and software tools. Thank you for all you do, Dr. Ibilola Amao. Then we appreciate the support and collaboration with Upwen Lagos. That's our chapter, Lagos chapter speaking, Engineer Bosse Oyekunle.
Thank you.
All right, so the floor is open for question. Oh, okay, I can see hands raised. Precious Dan Arnold, you have the floor.
Okay, good afternoon, and thank you, ma'am, for sharing your wisdom with us today. I have had the privilege of participating in the Energy Sector Women Leadership Initiative, ESWILI, organized by LONADEC in 2023. And that's where I first learned from you, and it's also a pleasure to hear from you again. So my question is, what's one mindset you had to unlearn to become the leader you are today? And what habits can you give to help mentees stand out, create value, and navigate workplace relationships wisely? So that's my question. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. And nice to meet you again virtually. Hope to meet you physically one of these days. So I must tell you, the first thing I had to learn is flexibility. So I was born into a very structured family that was very Western in its orientation, and then I returned to Nigeria, where and then I came from the background of calling people by first names after spending 11 years in the United Kingdom during my education and training to become a chartered engineer. And I got back to Nigeria. I was in NETCO, NNPC NETCO, on a contract which was for 10 years and 10 months eventually. And the structure there was calling, at that point in time, so I was talking about just trying to understand, referring to people. The first culture shock I got, because it was a Bechtel NNPC joint venture, was I was allowed to call the Bechtel staff by names, but I dare not call the Nigerians by names. I had to call them engineer or chief, you understand? So that was like, I had to reset my brain to know that
360 degree.
Exactly. I had to reset my brain that, okay, so I was having issues with a particular person. I didn't know he was a chief X. So I was now telling somebody that, please, I'm a bit confused. This gentleman is so difficult and everything. I now said, Mr. They said, you called him Mr. He's chief. So, so that's the first thing. Then I got married into a very traditional family, where I was told to be calling people I'm older than, auntie and uncle. I mean, you know, I'm married to an Ibadan. So that was another culture shock, as in, and then, but the bottom line is, if you're a very flexible person and you don't have airs and graces, and you humble yourself and you are willing to listen and make adjustments, life becomes easier. So I just had to learn very quickly that flexibility and willingness to learn, unlearn, and relearn for me has to be a constant. So I'm continuously listening and learning how people are navigating life and adjusting. So it's going to be a journey of, especially if you're in a male-dominated space as a female, you need to be very observant, you need to have emotional intelligence, and you need to be prepared always to make the right adjustments and be very flexible to ensure that you are not challenged due to your lack of emotional intelligence.
Thank you for sharing. Engineer Ine Igwebe, our president, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Engineer Bose. Thank you, Dr. Ibilola Mao. Nice to see you. And I'm really, in as much as I had another meeting, but I told myself, no, I told them to postpone in the next hour, you know, to just shift it because I needed to listen to the end. I really appreciate you coming to talk to us because there are areas that are very, very pertinent that I actually put down. I love the fact that you mentioned that for mentorship, we need to follow up and follow through. And I'm glad that we have our chapter chairman here and to understand why we always hammer to get back to your members, talk to them, see what is happening, because it's by talking to them that they will know that Upwell really cares. But the part that got to me is the focus groups, because like you said, the platform becomes overwhelming and everything, and people get confused, you know. But then I belong to other groups that we have focus groups, depending on where you want to belong, be it for business, be it for the learning path or the socials you are engaged. However, in Upwell, I just want to ask this question. There was a time that Upwell wanted to have a consultancy outfit, yeah. But I don't know what happened, that died. But to my own thinking, I believe it is trust. When the trust is not there, especially we are registered, we are a registered body. I believe if we have the board of trustees, as we have now, being the founding members, there is nothing wrong in having a registered company or using our established that will help us not to have a cap in this donor fatigue and put us where we really ought to be. Because I really love what the women in energy and oil and gas they are doing. I don't know whether because they are in the oil and gas, because they have that makes them to have, an edge over us. So I really would like into this question. What do you think we should do? Because it's bothering me every now and then. Conference is coming, we are going about, everybody's going to the same place. And I mean, the donor fatigue definitely would have to set in. But I know that if we have opportunity in a company, a tender comes out and you have an insider that says, do this, I'm sure that you guys can pull through. You have it. It also gives members opportunity. It also gives the young ones opportunity to learn on the job, be it consultancy or EPC. I'd like to hear from you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you so much for that fantastic question. So thank God we're in a data-driven world of digital transformation. I think running surveys and having qualitative and quantitative data on what is important to the Upwell members and the stages in their career that they are would give you clarity as to the kind of products or services that Upwell can offer, whether it's government or whether it's international oil companies or independents or asset owners of kinds, whether it's in the energy, power, manufacturing, communication, so all the sectors of economy. There's nothing wrong in having a business, Upwen having a business. And I must say, I mean, you need to connect with my sister, Engineer Oluseyi Afolabi, who has, I mean, if you reflect on maybe the past Upwen leadership or any Upwen groups, I mean, I think we've had that conversation before, whereby Upwen can actually have a business arm, a social impact arm, and a CSR arm. There's nothing stopping you from doing that. But the most important thing is to be clear on your goals. If you set SMART goals, you can, I mean, there's nothing stopping you registering Upwen for business or Upwen for social impact or Upwen for CSR. There's nothing stopping you from doing that. It's just ensuring that the structure is sustainable. So whether you're going to have an advisory board or you're going to have a board, and this is also the test of women working together to achieve a set goal. And we need to discipline ourselves to be able to come together, work together, and achieve these goals. So consultancy is a no-brainer. I mean, there are many Upwen women business owners who run consultancy services. We run a consultancy service. So what's stopping from the leadership of Upwen engaging with all Upwen members who are running consultancy services and saying, come, let's put our heads together and define what an Upwen consultancy team should look like, or organization should look like, or a special purpose vehicle should look like, and which of you are interested in collaborating with Upwen, at least in the first few years and teething period, to build up the track record before you now go full swing on your own. So these are things that we really, really need to look at. We women have to be more strategic. We need to have more focused group meetings to brainstorm and crowdsource ideas from people who have the experience and expertise, and then fashion out and co-create tangible projects, initiatives, special purpose vehicles, organizations that can take Upwen to the future.
Thank you so very much. The last one, thank you. I really got all the points, and I'm really grateful. The other one is whereby you are planning a program and you have a committed committee members, and outside the committee, somebody is also letting out information to the other party. How do you marry that?
Sorry, who is the other party? Sorry. So it's not clear to me.
Another group.
Another
trying
group
to do the same thing. Yeah.
Another group in Upwen.
Yes. Or maybe Upwen or another body.
Okay, so that's, for me, is really a matter of ethics and professionalism. So it tells me that ethics and professionalism is a challenge. So you really need to invite people to come and speak to Upwen members about ethics and professionalism. So if you're going into a strategic meeting to discuss sensitive matters, ethics and professionalism would speak to people in the room declaring a conflict of interest. So I have declared conflict of interest several times, and I just excuse myself from the meeting because I cannot be, I'm a member of Upwen, I'm a member of PETAN, OGTAN, Women in Energy Network, WeConnect, Commonwealth Business Women's Network, WIMBIZ. So if I'm in a meeting where a conversation is a likely conversation that they're having in another group I'm in, I need to put up my hand immediately and say, sorry, I have to declare a conflict of interest because another group I'm in is already discussing something similar to this. And I leave. So I don't know what you guys are doing going forward because I'm already committed to another group. So I think in your agenda for any meeting, and this is where program quality management systems is very important. You need to have guidelines, processes, procedures you follow. So the standard agenda for any strategic meeting at APWEM should be declaration of conflict of interest before you get into sensitive and strategic matters. So if at that point in time, somebody doesn't declare conflict of interest, and further down the line, it's known that that person had a conflict of interest, then the person has to be disciplined in one way or the other, because there has to be penalties and consequences for doing unethical or unprofessional activities or conducting yourself in a way that is disruptive to a group you belong in. So the person is either asked to leave the leadership team or something. Do you understand? But I think this is an area where we're not doing so well in Africa. We do things in a wishy-washy manner. There's no structure, there's no process, procedure, no guidelines, no penalties, no consequences for doing whatever you like. And I think this is where we need to draw the line. If we really, really want to build capacity, capability, and competence to handle huge opportunities and huge programs, we really, really need to build trust. And we need to have the best brains in the room strategizing on how to carry the bigger load. You need, the foundation has to be very deep. The pillars have to be very strong. As a structural engineer, you need to build capacity. So professionalism and ethics for trust is so fundamental if you're going to carry any huge load and achieve any lofty goals as a group in APWEM.
All right, thank you so much. So there's another question. Okay, there's a question from Engineer Martha Grace Ekechuku. She says, sometimes you find yourself in a very toxic work environment. How do you navigate such environment without allowing it to affect your character?
Oh, wow. Okay, so for me, there's corporate culture is something that is very important that we understand. It's very difficult to change corporate culture. So before you go into any environment, you really need to understand the culture. So speak to people there or make inquiries about the corporate culture where you're going. That's one thing. Another thing is reflecting on who you are and your character and your expectation from life. So it could be, you could be at fault or the environment could be at fault. I always give it a 50-50. I'm not going to say I'm a saint or I'm the perfect human being. So I'm going to reflect and say, is this a flaw in my personality or my professionalism or my emotional intelligence or my character? And I would ask one or two people, I'll paint the scenarios of what's going on to trusted people, and they would be, these are people who are brutally honest with me. They would tell me whether it's your fault. I mean, why didn't you look at it this way? You did this, you did that. That's in one case. The other is you're in a toxic environment where the culture is not professional or not ethical. You don't really want to be there. So, I mean, you're not going to change the culture as a single person. But if you must remain there, I would say look for one or two other people who are like-minded and can be supportive. I'm one of those people that believe one shall put 1,000 to flight and 2 10,000, and there is power in unity. And I mean, at least till I exit the company, let me even find one or two people who understand what I'm going through and can be encouraging me to survive and survive till I'm able to exit. But I'll start writing my resignation letter and looking for another job, because I mean, I'm not going to change my character and be a terrible person if the environment culture is the wrong one. But if I am the person that needs to change, then, and my trusted advisors have told me that I am the one that is looking at things the wrong way or behaving the wrong way, then I need to look inwards and make the right changes.
Thank you so much. Don't you see family needs as the reason why women don't strike deals as men do? For example, when men go out for a drink or dinner, women will be thinking of what to cook at home or going to pick up a child in school. How do we match home front responsibility with professional visibility and leadership?
I think that's so funny. I think fundamentally choosing the right spouse is the foundation of that problem. If you pick the man that wants you to be cooking every month, every day, and being at home before he gets home, it can't work. You might as well just head home and forget about networking after office hours. Do you understand? So it's a no-brainer. If your spouse is not a very flexible person and is not accommodating, head home. Forget about networking. You'll be doing your networking by by online or by WhatsApp.
Mutual.
Yes, but I think in the formative years of your children, your priority should be home, because I mean, not what profited a man if he gains the whole world and loses his soul is the same thing as what profited a woman if she has all that her career or her business can give and her children end up being vagabonds or a pain in the neck. So I think we really, really want to invest in our children, that they have the right values and they have the right, and they turn out right. I think for me, that's beyond a career, profession, or a business. So our priority should be our children. I mean, in my own case, my children went to schools where there was a school bus. I always invested in having the best help in the house. And then my weekends, I just focused on the children. I wasn't a socialite. And then when my children were older, they went to boarding school. But I made sure I was in England for their half term and their end of term. I planned all my activities around their half term and the end of term. So we need to be intentional, but having the right spouse and having the right family structure is very important. At some point in your life, when your children are older, then if you have an understanding spouse, I know my Monday to Friday, if I want to go for cocktail or dinner or anything, it's agreeable. Do you understand? But at the end of the day, I would say that it's very, very important that you respect the system of your family system and you honor your husband in the choices you make and you put your family first.
Yeah, thank you. Family first for me. Even, there's always a stage to life. The moment, let's say, for instance, for the young ones, the moment you get married, please forget anything happened. Concentrate on your husband and start building your home. But understand, let the person understand that your career is also important. Let him not make you, like someone once told me, you cannot practice engineering. I said, oh, okay, that's a no for me. You can't force me to become a teacher when I went to study engineering. So that way, the flag is, the signs are there, but a lot of times we women, what will people say if I leave this guy, or kind of thing. So those are the things we need to look out for the young ones. Then we need to be intentional about what we want to achieve, actually. Like engineer Dr. Amao has said it all, and she said you have to pray. Engineer Chinyere, our president, said we need God to help us choose the right spouse. So we need to start praying to have the right, to make the right choice and not make mistakes. Engineer Nkechi said, Engineer Nkechi Okeke said, thank you for making out your time to share your knowledge with us. Our question is regarding APWEN members coming together to put head together and tender for the SheWill or NNPC bid. Please, how do we start up to achieve that? If opportunity comes to tender for a quotation, we can successfully tender and submit. If that is your line, please, I don't know. And then she said, our president said, APWEN headquarters, we have to get the paper work ready before tendering. So your question has been answered by the president. So thank you so much.
I would like to add.
I would like to add.
Sorry, I would like to add the fact that APWEN is strategically positioned with APWEN members in Shell, ExxonMobil, Total, Shell, and all the other places to be successful in bids. You already have members, APWEN members in these organizations. So beyond getting the paperwork in place, you also need to look at the strategy and the process of putting in successful bids and winning those bids as APWEN.
Thank you so very much. Thank you, Dr. Amo. My last submission to you, just reflecting on what you said about women coming together for businesses, have a coffee. I started thinking about that some years ago, but it happened that I think some months ago on the 19th of, I think it was 19th of June, I have a group, the ladies group. Actually, the essence of bringing us together is to see how we can harness our strengths, basically, and help one another in our weaknesses. Where this person's strength lies is where my weakness is. So that kind of bonding. And it happened that we had a breakfast meeting, and it was so cool for me because it was opportunity to see other sides of business and investment. And one of us was able to speak to us in-depthly. Unfortunately, we were not able to record much because, thinking about it now, it was a creative opportunity for us to bond. It was just a 2-hour meeting, but it was very, very graceful. So we are also looking at, opening it up to other members. But for now, just about 10 of us, so I think it's something that everyone should look into, because just like you said, we go for Owambe parties and men are there discussing and closing our deals. And what are we doing? Jumping and dancing to music and all those things. So that's a good one.
Okay, I'd also like to add that when we ran the Power Africa Energy Sector Women in Leadership program, even though it was a 90-minute webinar session, we did open up the platform for an additional 30 minutes beyond the webinar. And we created breakout rooms for people who wanted to discuss or network in certain areas. So when you run your webinars, while people are registering, you can decide on 4 areas that you want to take a look at, or you can ask people what are the specific areas they're interested in networking. And then you can create breakout rooms so that at the end of the webinar, people who want to go an extra 15 or 30 minutes networking can go into those breakout rooms and meet people. So basically, your 1-minute elevator pitch, introduce yourself, where you work, what you do, and what one major challenge you're trying to solve. We need to begin to help each other solve problems and build trust over time. So I get to meet a lot of people in conferences, workshops, and seminars who probably were part of the Power Africa Energy Sector Women in Leadership Initiative, which was run virtually when I was in the UK. But at some point, when you go into these breakout rooms virtually, one day you would end up meeting that person physically, and you build on that trust. And it's this intentional, continuous building on trust that will help us work together as women to achieve formidable goals.
Thank you so much.
Grace Adeniro, I see your hands up.
Okay,
And
good
that
afternoon.
will be the last question, if no other. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm Grace Adeniro by name. I was one of the people laid off in NEPA in August 2013. So actually, I was thinking of going to business. But that's why I didn't even go back to start begging this and that, because some people said you have to use money to beg. So now I decided to go into business. But since I've started it, because I'm producing Vaseline hair cream, but the money is not coming the way I want it. Then this way, how can somebody practice engineering being on your own without working for somebody?
Okay, fantastic. So I think your experience, your knowledge, your skills from NEPA needs to be put in context. And you need to package yourself as either an expert that can go into contracts work, project work, or get a consultancy opportunity with a company. or join an existing business that is providing power-related solutions or energy-related solutions. And then you need to be able to focus on your professionalism. So go online, attend a few online courses that relate to problems, issues, and challenges in the power sector, and connect it with your experience in NEPA, for example. And then upgrade your LinkedIn profile, join the right LinkedIn groups, and then begin to prefer solutions where you see problems, as well as begin to engage people in APWEN or in NSC that work in the power sector, and tell them the kind of experience you bring to bear. So you need to upskill yourself, develop personally, professionally, rebrand yourself, and begin to put yourself forward for opportunities. So you may not necessarily start off as a consultant because you need to be reabsorbed into the workforce area, but you would need to upskill yourself and upgrade your profile to be able to access these opportunities. So, I mean, I don't know where you're based. If you're based in Lagos, then, I mean, you can connect with me on LinkedIn and we can take a look at how best to get you to where you want to get to.
Okay, I'm at Ibadan presently. I was in Ogun State before.
Okay, then. So, I mean, I think you're on the right path. So I've given you some ideas of what to do. Once you've done all those things, please get in touch with me to tell me that you have done all those things, because it's very important for me as well to know that you've done all those things that are foundational and fundamental.
Please, how can I get your contact now?
I'm on LinkedIn, and then so just connect with me on LinkedIn and just remind me that this is what you're up to. And then let me know when you've done those things, because it's very important for me to know that you have done those things first, and then we can now take it from there.
Okay. For me, I need a mentor, just like you said. No, none of my parents are about engineering. Even me, just
okay,
all right, take it off then. Take it off now.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Engineer Dr. Ibilola Amao. So as we prepare to conclude, I would like to ask one final question. If every engineer participating in today's section could remember just one lesson from this conversation over the next 5 years, what would you want that lesson to be?
You do the work. If you don't do the work and you don't pay the price, you can't get the reward. You have to do the work. I mean, for me, it's a no-brainer. You have to put in, we're all engineers, action and reaction, fundamentals of, you have to put in the work to get the results, but make sure you put in the work at the right place at the right time, and the work is well defined. So you need to identify what the issue is and do the work. We must learn to do the work. Our male folk are not joking. They do the work. Whether it's working the networking or working, they do the work.
I really believe that, because number one, when they put men in the committee, they put all their effort to it. But when you put women in committee, hardly do you see women participate fully. And so this is the word for us today. Do the work and let's run with it. Thank you so very much for such an insightful and inspiring conversation. Today's discussion has reminded us that successful engineering careers are not built by technical competencies alone. They are built through intentional learning, meaningful mentorship, authentic relationship, continuous growth, and the courage to invest in others while pursuing excellence ourselves. She told us to upskill, reskill, and do the work. As women engineers, we must intentionally seek mentors, build strong professional network, remain lifelong learners, and become mentors to the next generation. This is a must for us. We must groom the younger ones coming behind us, because when one woman engineer rises, she creates opportunity for others and many others to rise with her. So our distinguished speaker, Engineer Dr. Ibilola Amao, FNS-CMAT, thank you for sharing your journey, your wisdom, and your practical insight with us. On behalf of the National President, our own President, the Executive Council, and the entire Upwent family, we sincerely appreciate your time and your commitment to advancing women in nation and engagement. We look forward to seeing you next week.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Engineer Baside, and thank you, our speaker, Engineer Dr. Ibilola Amao. Thank you for today's session. It was very, very enlightening. I have a full note of things I'll be implementing going forward. Thank you very much for today's session. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so yes, I think there is a request in the chat section about an Oxford scholarship. Someone is asking for the link to an Oxford scholarship. So I think Grace Uzezi, maybe you could reach out later on or search. The information might be available online, so you'd be able to get more information. Okay, thank you very much once again, our speaker. Thank you very much, Ma. It's a pleasure to have you with us today. Okay, for the next session, I'd love to invite our president, our upcoming president, Engineer Nen Chineye Nena FNSC for the certificate presentation to our speaker.
Thank you very much, Nam. And we can't thank you enough. Please, can you share the certificate so I know what I'm saying? We can't thank you enough for your time because I know it's not easy. Your calendar is actually full for the year. But we hope that when we call you next, you'll be able to answer us. And this is to tell you that we are inviting you to your own conference, the Upwent International Conference, which will be holding on the 21st to 25th of September at Chida Event Center. So your letter will be getting to Engineer your humble servant here. Thank you very much, Ma. And I received this with all the sincerity from us. We want to say thank you. It's not enough thanks, but please do accept this. God bless you, man.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate this time spent with the fellow female engineers, and I look forward to us all doing the work and doing very well. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Very much.
Okay, thank you very, very much. We'll be moving over to the next section. I'd love to invite Engineer Dr. Helen.
No, sorry. Engineer Nobok, sorry. I really want Chairman, the National Past National Engineer Katsume Egiwa. She's on. Thank you very much for joining us and all the chapter chairmen and members who are duly here. Over to you, Number.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much, our president. Okay, so I'd love to invite for the closing remarks session, Engineer Dr. Helen Tola Owoyemi for this session. And please let us all be on standby to put on our videos for the photo session after this.
Thank you, my president. Thank you, our guest speaker today, Engineer Dr. Bilola Amo, FNSC. Thank you for taking us through this journey. It's indeed a rewarding time. This has been a wonderful time today. Resilient by design, leveraging mentorship and strategic network for engineering leadership. You have really taught us a lot. And I believe like you've captured everything by saying, do the work. I know every one of us are going to do the work. So on behalf of the council, I want to say thank you for coming. And to everyone that's taking time to participate in today's webinar, I know you have not lost at all. We have gained and it has added more to us. So once again, I want to appreciate every one of us and say thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
It's a great.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Engineer Dr. Helen, for the closing remarks. Yes, so for the photo session, please let us turn on our cameras and with wide smiles, let us have the photo session. Thank you, everybody.
Please stop sharing so that we can take the photo section well.
Yes.
Okay. The videos are not up yet. All right. Okay, on the count of 3, we all shout up when you can unmute, please, so that I want to see those feet. We are challenged to do the work. So this is the work. Let's start encouraging ourselves. Put a smile on your face and shout up when. Let's do the work. 1, 2, 3. Up when. Do the work.
Do the work.
The work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So next window.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, so it's time for the closing prayer. Please let's turn on our mic one more time and recite together. Thank you. I pledge to Nigeria, my country,
To Nigeria, my country, to be faithful, loyal, and honest, to serve Nigeria with all my strength, to defend our unity, and to uphold our honor and glory. Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Thank you all. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.